Communications and Works Minister Mark Vanderpool also voiced his disapproval with the prohibitive cost of technological services in the BVI, and he challenged the local providers, Lime, Digicel, CCT, and Cable TV, to stop the talk and introduce affordable, cutting-edge technology to the BVI. Speaking at the launch of the rebranded Telecommunications and Regulatory Commission on Thursday, May 30th at Maria's by the Sea, Minister Vanderpool said cutting-edge technology will attract investors. He said the BVI is at a crossroads and needs all hands on deck. The minister invited proposals from the telecommunications service providers, calling on them to help the BVI improve its competitive advantage.
This is a year and a half now since I have been Minister for Communications and Works, and the time is fast spent for some action in this regard and less words in this regard. The government is expecting results from the telecoms sector now, not 2 or 3 years from today. We must move with the changing technology, and you as providers have to be able to keep up with the rest of the world with our telephone or internet and television services. You must get on the cutting edge of technology. Let's stop the talk and move now. As Nike says, just do it. Therefore, as Minister for Communications and Works, I am calling on the TRC, Chairman, Board, and all of you players in the industry to move swiftly. Do everything within your ambit to ensure that the government, the business community, residents and persons who visit these Virgin Islands for business or pleasure have affordable access to and can benefit from the latest available telecommunications products and services offered throughout the modern world.
The irate Communications and Works Minister pulled the rug from under the feet of the local telecommunications service providers, dismissing their claim that consumers in the Virgin Islands now have access to 4G network services.
Speaking specifically to the providers, as Minister for Communications, I would like to see the technology improve to a standard where the territory is competitive worldwide. And we can offer our customers here, for example, the highest level of internet service in terms of speed, accuracy, and modernization. Our Virgin Islands economy must be able to potentially attract world-class businesses and support those already here through telecommunications technology. So the question is, what can we do technologically wise to attract, for example, a physical Google, a physical Microsoft operations, or even as an Apple provider here in the Virgin Islands? What competitive advantages can this territory offer to businesses like those if they wanted to locate here physically in their own way? Can we say we will move towards a next generation network, or as you might call it, NGN of the Virgin Islands, to include cutting edge broadband using wired and wireless technology, incorporating elements such as 4G, which we hear a lot of talk about, but we know it doesn't exist here?
Responding to a question about what is required to facilitate the introduction of improved and affordable communication technology services in the BVI, CEO of the TRC, Guy Malone, said the TRC has already created a draft for rolling out an ITT 700 spectrum to allow for LTE. The 700 megahertz band is important for both commercial wireless and public safety communications. The band consists of 108 megahertz of spectrum running from 698 to 806 megahertz and is divided into 3 segments: broadband, guard band, and narrow band.
I visited Antigua and I had the pleasure to see they rolled out the LT network in Antigua, data services. And that was phenomenal with respect to you getting 100 gigabytes per second downloads, speeds on internet and stuff. And I was very impressed with that. So to answer your question, that's where we would need to move in order to adopt and address these services. The TRC at present is working on a draft ITT where we would be rolling out to the operators invitation to bid for for the 700 spectrum, because they all are showing interest in that. And in doing that, once that initiative is complete, I would say, I guess the best operator would win that spectrum, and thereafter they would be building a service, a LTE service that would enhance all these new services and be able to have faster speed, bigger bandwidth, and in turn address all those initiatives that the minister outlined.
Chairman of the TRC, Ayanna Hall, says the regulatory body is now in a position to facilitate advanced IT services in the BVI.
The 700 spectrum is the spectrum that we do need to bring on in order for this LTE to work. And I'm happy to hear the minister say that he wants us to get on with it, because I do believe that a letter either is on his desk or on its way to his desk saying to him that the TRC is ready now to launch the 700 spectrum. And we are also ready to reform the 850 spectrum. And we will proceed with it once we get the unofficial or the authority to do so. So we are now positioned to deal with 700 in terms of who the service providers needing the 700 spectrum in order to run the LTE. And I think that is where most of the deficiencies right now in terms of us being technologically savvy on a world stage is. And once we are able to get that launched and get the service provider situated on it, then I think the public will see a big improvement in terms of speed, accuracy, and, as the minister said, modernization.
As part of the relaunching ceremony, the 16-member staff at the TRC was presented to the public. TRC Chairman Ayanna Hall says the hiring of staff and revamping of policies formed part of the rebranding exercise. The general managers of BVI Cable TV, CCT Global Communications, Digicel, and Lime all expressed satisfaction with the relationship between their companies and the TRC. The four managers also gave verbal pledges in support of the TRC's rebranding exercise, which seeks to establish a closer relationship with the community.